Now I would like to welcome Dr. Umapati back on stage.
Again, let's give one more big round of applause for them. Yeah. Before we get into the next stage where our community partners will reflect, so the LISC Jax project actually was done within 6 weeks because the funding limit-wise, we had to spend it before June 30. We had to spend it in the previous academic year itself. So we did it in 6 weeks, so they were able to do that. And the rest of those two projects was done in 11 weeks. So, but the LISC team, we have to pull them back and we have to coach and train for them to present for today. So, and every other project was very challenging, and again, they went through a lot to get here. So again, congrats to all of them. So, but now we have shown the insights. Now we want to know those who gave us the problem, what do they think? Right, so first John and Lucy and Allison is going to reflect. So these are individuals going to reflect. What they're going to reflect on, right, is 3 questions. So the essence of the question is, now we've seen the findings, but which of those findings is important for them? Now, given that finding, what exactly is the impact? And then given that impact, what's their next steps, right? Pretty much that's the basic questions you're gonna answer. So John, you could come and you can answer these questions first.
All right, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be at LISC Jacksonville and to work with the team at UNF. And I would say our big reveal from our perspective, given the fact that we are the ecosystem manager for our housing preservation strategy, which includes heirs property, property tax relief, and also associated home repairs. In the heirs property space, Jacksonville has over 12,000 heirs properties, the most in the Southeast. So that seems like a very challenging, almost impossible, wicked problem. And so what is so fantastic is the great wealth transfer of assets. Those homes are going to go to someone. And so what we don't want them to do is to go to investors that take advantage of the heirs property issues or property tax issues. So really to focus the research on women as owners of properties or those who are most likely to need estate planning help and help with property tax exemptions to keep their property taxes low. That's a really important thing to focus on. We can focus our community outreach on women's networks that we're aware of in the faith community, and sororities, other types of women's networks that we can really focus on our educational outreach on. And so what that does is it allows us to really increase the uptake of our educational and outreach programs, because we can go out to hundreds of organizations and have lots of meetings, but it's really about uptaking with heirs property legal referrals and going to the property appraiser and gets the exemptions. It's so important. And so that impact is going to really bring hope to residents. It's amazing to be part of the process where we go into a community organization and a neighborhood network, and it's hopeful when we can provide targeted impact based on this data to really help people who can understand and relate to the problem that we're presenting to them. And so, and also funders like the data-informed programs and the hopefulness that this brings. We have government and non-government support for this work. And so it's so important to be able to target. And what that does is that once you get success stories, it builds on itself, and people can then spread the word amongst their family and friend network. And finally, as far as the next steps for our organization, we are going to continue to use UNF interns, also from Jacksonville University and the University of Florida, to really ground test a lot of this data. So So interns and their professors can go door to door and help with really understanding the validity of this data, which is very high actually, and to improve the uptake. So I think LISC is really an intermediary for lots of different assets, not only our leadership assets into neighborhood organizations, but also funding assets. So we want to be able to target those assets in the most effective way. So the data is really, really effective in doing this. So thank you for also making data for social good. That's really, really important, and it's very gratifying to work in that field. So I encourage you to continue, students. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lucy Chen from Cathedral Arts Project. So first and foremost, I would like to thank Dan and also Karthik, and a round of applause to the incredible interns for doing an amazing job this year. I believe this is my 4th time being on the stage, and every year I say, wow, we have the best interns. And then I say the same thing the following year, and then the year again, and I think this year, we really have the best interns. So for the past 6 years, in partnership with the National Endowment for the Arts and Duval County Public Schools, CAP has administered the LEAD survey, and it's simply to understand arts access in our schools. And many thanks to the team at DSSG. This work has been featured nationally by the Americans for the Arts and the Kennedy Center. And school districts from as far as Portland and also from Texas have called us and asked, so what is your secret sauce? Well, I think we all learned a little bit about the secret sauce here at the big reveal, which is to have a very dedicated and committed community to support arts education. So what will be the impact of this project? So every year, we turn data into action. So the first year, we learned that arts field trips were beneficial to help with students' academic learning. So we linked arms with cultural institutions and also with Kids Hope Alliance, and we launched one field trip, bringing students to the Florida Theater. It was a great success, and for many of the students, it was their first time crossing the bridge to the other side of Jacksonville. Us here, we would be complaining about the traffic, but for the kids, that brought them a lot of joy. Second year, we said, you know what? We can make this bigger and better. So we teamed up with 8 different cultural sites here in Jacksonville and linked arms with our business partners, and we brought thousands of students on arts field trips. But what's most memorable are the students with disabilities. It was the first time for wheelchair-bound students to be so close to the St. Johns River. And what did we do last year? I have to look at my notes. We launched the Principal of the Arts Award, and that is to bring public awareness to the impact of arts education. So what are the next steps for our organization? We talked about bringing data into action, but why is arts education so important? So I have to share one little story. Every member at CAP, we always visit a class. So I was standing at the parking lot and looking at the interaction between a child and his dad. And the kid was very excited, running out to his dad, who was busy typing away on his phone. And he said, "Dad, I'm gonna perform at the Times Union Center. That's part of the CAP program." And the father went, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And the child exclaimed, "I'm going to perform on stage with my friends at the Times Union Center, Dad." And this is the response from the dad. The dad looked at the child, head to toe, back to head again, and said, "Dang." And then he said again, "Dang." It's these little moments that really can't be translated into a grade, or you might see it a few years later, but it's confidence, it boosts academic learning, and it's these little things that will have a measurable impact on the students' lives. So we will continue to turn data into action. And once again, many thanks to the team at UNF.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Allison Ownby, and I'm the Director of Research and Evaluation at the Nonprofit Center. And might disagree with Lucy because I think our interns were the best, but we can have that conversation later. I started this role about 1 year ago, and one of the first events that I attended was this one, and I said, wow. I was so impressed by the work that DSSG was able to do over the course of one summer that I said, sign me up. I already had a million ideas coming into this role for how we could make data come alive and not stay on a single sheet of paper or a report. The State of the Sector report is something that the Nonprofit Center has published for over 20 years and has become an important resource to our community. But I am not someone who likes to remain at the status quo. And I proposed the idea to partner with the DSSG team to take it to the next level, to produce those health indicators that were presented today. And I was blown away by the amount of insight that the team was able to gather by using the same set of data that we've looked at for many, many years. This project is going to influence how our organization approaches our work over the next few years. The Nonprofit Center recently concluded a strategy session where we're influencing and changing the way the Nonprofit Center is going to operate in the future. And my question to this team was, how can we use data to drive those new programs that we're going to roll out? A potential shared back office program, mergers and acquisitions encouragement for the nonprofit organizations. And this team rose to the occasion by taking the data and producing clustering that will allow us to focus our efforts on organizations that could most benefit from those type of services. So those are our next steps. I can't wait to dig into the data that these students have been able to produce, to be able to access the dashboards and use the data and implement data-driven programs. So thank you so much.